So hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. So with season 11 coming back in a few weeks, I thought I'd just do like a recap of what I liked most about season 11 so far, what I feel like has worked, and kind of like a looking forward what I hope to see. I don't usually do videos like this, like what I want to see kind of videos, because it's kind of like New Year's resolutions. It's kind of like, well, if I say I want to see something and then I don't, we don't get it or whatever, there is kind of like a sense of disappointment. So I tend to kind of steer clear of that and just let shows be what they are or whatever, and to give us whatever it is they're going to give us. But it's the last season and I do want to talk about it. Just before we get started, as always, God, oh, it's going to be one of those days. So just before I get started, I just want to remind you guys that I have a Patreon where I do a reaction to a whole bunch of shows. At the moment there's ongoing reactions to shows like The Witcher, Doctor Who, American Horror Story, The X-Files, Buffy, Once Upon a Time, Teen Wolf. Yeah, so the link's that's down below if you guys want to check that out. There's 2 uploads a day, so there's always content going on over there. But yeah, so let's go with The Walking Dead. So I actually made a list. Well, I tried to make notes. It's me, so like look, it's a bit messy. I wouldn't be able to stay on topic even if I tried and bullet pointed everything anyway, so fuck it. One thing that has bothered me a little bit about this season, and like I've seen a lot of people saying it and I completely agree, there's no promotion. Like they're not promoting the show, there's no like hype or excitement for it. Now I do understand when a show goes into its last season, networks and companies feel like they don't really need to publicize it or to really push it because like, well, it's the last season of the show and they're not really depending on ratings. Now maybe it's still just a little bit too early. As I'm recording this, it's the 18th of January and it's like I do get that maybe we're still a little bit too far out and they'll probably start that up the week before it comes back, but that in itself is a problem too, because then you have the whole I forget what it's called, but like the premiere thing that they're doing now, which is where they premiere the episode a week early on like a streaming site. I think it's like AMC plus a premiere or something. And I guess in a way, yeah, that's smart, and if you want to pay for it then cool. But there's a lot of people that can't do that simply because, regional locks and stuff. That if you don't live in the States, then you can't, it's a fucking mess. That you can't get excited, and I've said this for the last few seasons, and I stand by it. I understand it's a money-making tool, and it's a marketing tool, whatever. That's great, but like, there's like no excitement among the fans, there's no buzz, you can't have this kind of group energy that there used to be surrounding this. Like, you remember the fucking hype and excitement and tension that was surrounding season 7 coming back. I know a lot of people didn't like the cliffhanger with the lineup of season 6. I did. I both loved it and I hated it, but I felt like it was a really smart way to guarantee high viewers for the premiere of season 7, and it had everybody talking, everybody buzzing, even people I didn't know, even people that I know that didn't watch the show cared and talked about it, right? So like, I get why they do certain things that they do, and I know we are in the middle of a season. We just have the first third of this season done and we're going into the second part. But like, it's the last fucking stretch. Can you not, like, I don't know. I know that seems like really negative, but I'm not trying to be. You guys know I fucking adore this show. I just feel like a lot of really weird moves have been made, not regarding the actual show itself, but in like the promotion and the distributing of it and stuff. It's just Anyway, so we're getting a 24 episode season. We have the first 8 episodes done, so we have the first little chunk done. Usually we'd be halfway through a season and we'd have half to go, but it's kind of like we have a full season left now because there's a full 16 episodes left to go. So like, a lot happened in the first 8 episodes, some good, some bad, but I want to focus more on like the characters. And I was actually saying this recently, that when it comes to shows, I'm not somebody who cares all that much about world building or special effects or music or costumes or weaponry. I love all that kind of stuff, but my favourite aspect of any show is the characters at their core. Who are they? What have they been through? Have they changed? Have we seen a nice arc? How have they impacted characters around them? To me, that's what makes or breaks a show. So this season, or this little part of the season at least, finally, the Daryl and Leah stuff like started to make sense. I said back when that episode aired, when Daryl and Leah met in the forest, to this day, I still am not a big fan of that episode. I think it was really well done, very well acted and all that. But storyline wise, I feel like they just jammed that in there to make this make sense. And at the time, I could kind of get that feel from it. I was like, okay, well, they're obviously giving us this to explain something's going to happen further down the line. But I still don't like how it was handled. But at least now that's set up, that one little standalone fits. It was nice and also fucking horrible seeing Daryl on Easy Street again. Seeing him locked up like that in the cell just brought me right back to the Saviour days. Which is probably the most excited and in love I've ever been with the show. Well, Leah's character makes a whole lot more sense now, but I feel like given her story and what she told us, what we learnt about her, seeing her with Pup, seeing her around like the cult people who also really reminded me of Teddy and his little group of freaks from Fear the Walking Dead. I do like that we kind of brought in that element to this too, because those kind of prepping doomsday kind of, I'm trying to put it delicately, but you know exactly what I'm getting at. That those kind of groups would exist, and to see them still exist this far into the apocalypse, whether they entered the apocalypse that way or were made that way over time, is just really fucking interesting to see. But I think Leah's response to Daryl being like, yeah, listen, come with me, come be with us, we can work something out, we can like bring you in, make you one of us. Seeing her act the way she did just didn't really make a whole lot of sense. I feel like she probably would have followed him. She would have gone with him and been like, yeah, okay. Instead, she sold him out, and I'm like, oh, bitch. Said bye-bye to my good books. You are entering Go Fuck Yourselves Ville in my head. So she's kind of being set up, I guess, for the next villain or the next smaller villain. I don't know why, but there's something kind of governor-like about her to me, which I also kind of got that feel as well from the Commonwealth. Kind of reminded me a small bit of Woodbury. I don't know why, because there wasn't any real direct comparisons, but I suppose seeing somewhat of like a really super small self-contained town, almost like a little time capsule, just really did bring back those kind of vibes for me. Anyway, yeah, so her being set up to be the next kind of villain, it's going to be interesting seeing how Daryl responds to that, because they tried to force some kind of backstory and feelings there between the two of them, and I'm like, it would have felt better if it had been over a series of episodes, I guess, instead of just putting it all into the one episode when she was initially introduced. Now I'm talking about that episode. She'd been scattered in for like a season or two, and then they'd gone with this story. It would have made a lot more sense, and you would have felt it a bit more. But yeah, I'm interested to see what she has to do and how she's going to be as a leader, or what she's going to do with that really weird big firework display gun thing that she had at the end of the episode. Pope didn't really get a time to shine, did he? We had him for a few episodes. Poor son of a bitch burst onto the screen, said some batshit insane stuff, and then just was murdered. Rip Pope. Negan and Maggie as well has been a huge talking point of this season. Since the Negan lineup, there's been tension, there's been hatred. There's been people on both sides of the fence, right? I was always in the kind of mindset of, if I was her, I straight up would have killed him. I don't say that lightly, but I don't see how you could be around someone like him. I get that, like, you know, Rick had that whole rehabilitation storyline for Negan. He was like, no, we need to show people what we can do. We need to show people whatever. Lock him up. Slit his throat, but then stitch him up real quick. That still to this day has me like, they really just slit his throat on TV and then just fixed it. Anyway, yeah, the tension between them was built nicely over the season. The train cart where he just like was like, I'm just not getting involved. I'm just simply not going to do anything. In itself was still showing you what kind of a person he is. He's the kind of character who, I don't know, I feel like he has made leaps and bounds and he has changed a whole lot, obviously because seasons have passed. And in terms of the show, years have passed in that world. So like, I do see growth and I do see change. He's not the same person he was. Doesn't undo anything that he did. Doesn't make anything that he did okay or soften the blow at all. But it was interesting to see that little glimmer of old Negan come back in. You know what I mean? That kind of snaky little bollocks come back into play. So their episode together where they went off, a lot of people didn't like that. And there was like a lot of people saying like, what the fuck? Why are we teaming them up? I thought it was interesting. I think it made for at least a good viewing experience. But I still do think that was kind of probably unrealistic. Negan acted in the exact way I would have expected to, but Maggie, I just don't know what the fuck is going on with her, to be honest. You know, we had that scene where she went to kill him. Like, this was like a season or two ago. Remember, she went to the prison to kill him, and then she's like, I came here to kill Negan, but he's already as good as dead. I can grasp that, I can get it, but at the same time, like, this is the guy that terrorized your group, did a whole bunch of shit, and killed your husband. So I can understand why she's like, no, death is too good for you. Instead, I want you to simply rot. I can understand that. But then when that is like over and now she's out on the road with him, I would have been like, well, you're not dead. You're not rotting. I'm just going to fucking kill you myself. You know? And people still argue to this day that Rick's group started it and Who started who? Who was in the right? Where do you think Negan was in the right or Rick was in the right for doing what they did way back in the day? At the end of the day, you still have a woman who is now a mother, a single mother, dealing with still every day the loss of her husband, and she's faced every fucking day with this guy. How has she not killed him? I don't know. She's just the kind of character who she says one thing, but you can see she's thinking another, or she wants to do another. And especially then when Negan was just like, yeah, I should have probably killed all of you back in the day. I mean, it's true, but you shouldn't say it, Negan. Imagine if he had. Imagine if he had just took them all out in that lineup. I would say where would we be now, but we'd be nowhere, I guess, because they'd all be dead. Even though I'm pretty sure most of the people from that lineup are dead anyway. Who the fuck was even in the lineup? I had to Google a picture of the goddamn lineup because it's been a while. Glenn, dead. Rosita, still alive and kicking. They better not change that. Daryl, again, still alive and kicking. If they change that, I'm gonna kick some kneecaps to shreds. Michonne, still alive, but just fucked off to find Rick, which I will get into in a minute. I have thoughts on that. Abraham, dead. Maggie's still around. Rick, gone. Sasha, gone. Aaron's still around. Coral, gone. And Eugene's still around. So, like, we only have, like, half of that lineup left anyway. I might just talk about some of the characters that were in the lineup, actually, because I have points on them right here. So, Michonne leaving to find Rick. I know I've said it, like, a million times. I don't think she would have left her kids. I get wanting to go and save him. I just feel like it was handled so weirdly how she left and how everybody just kind of responded to that they were just kind of like, okay, well, you know, we'll check in on her, I guess, but, like, let her do her thing. But I do like what that has caused in the household at home. Like, I like seeing how Judith deals with RJ and with the other kids, with Gracie and with being around with the kids, and you can really see her start to... I think she's handling it a lot better than Coral did back when he was younger, but that's probably because he wasn't born in the apocalypse, so he had to adapt. She never knew anything but this, so she grew up watching both of her parents be badasses, learning through watching them. So seeing her become the little lady of the house is just really, I've loved watching it. The way the season ended with her and Gracie trapped in the basement, it does have me worried, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to kill either of the kids. I think that the kids are probably going to be okay for a while, because they're going to be the future of the show, or they're going to be the future for life after the show. So I see what you're doing, Walking Dead. I'm cautious, but I'm alright about it. Aaron, as well, this season had one of the standout moments where we saw him torturing that dude. We saw him just go full on, like, psycho. I don't see how living through everything that you've lived through, how you couldn't change. You know what I'm saying? How there couldn't be a screw that just threatens every now and again to come undone just a small bit. So I do like that we saw that in Aaron. I like that we saw his breaking point. And he's one of those characters as well that, like with Father Gabriel, when you look back on how he entered the show, just that guy on the road, you know, offering water, to see him come from there to where he is now, I love him. But yeah, having Carol stop him from killing the dude, I do like that we kind of instantly saw the consequences of that, because then that led to Connie being found. But I don't know, Carol as well, she's been one of my favourite characters since the very, very bitter beginning. And I've stood by her through, like, everything. But again, I feel like she's a character that she can be, like with Maggie, she can be kind of hypocritical at times. That, I guess that's what makes her human, I guess, and grounds her character as realistic. But there is times where she's kind of like, yeah, it's one rule for me, but another for you. Like, we saw her go after Alpha, right? Her and Negan together killed Alpha. And it's like... So, she gets the closure that she wanted, but when someone else wants it, she's like, no, I did that, and it led me down a really dark path. Don't do that. And I do understand that as trying to help somebody that you love and trying to explain to them, look, I've been where you are. But at the same time... Who are you to tell somebody that they can't do something when you've experienced something very similar, or you've done fucked up things in the past? You know what I mean? I just want to see Carol and Ezekiel get back together. I'm not even going to lie, I just want that to happen. And I know a lot of people are going to probably be mad at me, and I tried to avoid talking about ship and stuff because, my God, people get really testy. But I've never made it a secret. I always loved the idea of Carol and Ezekiel ending up together. From what we saw of them being together, there was a lot they could have worked on, obviously, but I want them to end up together. They're endgame for me. And I'm guessing that's not going to fucking happen, because Carol and Daryl are getting their spin-off show. And I'm just like, as much as I love both of those characters individually and together, like, they're a fantastic duo. It better be the Carol, Daryl, and then, you know, they get a little sidecar to put Zeke in, you know, or they get him a horse or something that he can gallop along beside them. Rosita as well this season. She's kind of like Aaron. She has been in the show for so fucking long that you forget how long she's actually been there. But her standout moment definitely was to stay away from the windows when the huge storm was hitting, and she just went out and was like, right, I'm going to go a little bit dark side for a while. I'll be back in later. She just walked out into the middle of a fucking hurricane rainstorm, demolished everything, came back in like, it's okay now. I was worried for a little while, I'm not going to lie. When she got the role of Selena, I thought, oh fuck, oh god, does this mean, is this curtains for Rosita? But no, she managed to balance the two really fucking well, both roles. My favourite episode definitely so far this season was Connie and Virgil's episode. I loved that shit. I loved the spooky cannibals that were crawling around the floor. They looked like they came straight out the ring. They came out the well, they pulled a Samara and just crawled across the floor. Super fucking weird. Really unlike anything we've seen, and that was like Horror House. That episode, the vibe, everything about it was just different. And I loved it. And I really hope we do something similar. Maybe not the same, but something in the same vein in a future episode, because it worked so well. And again, I guess it's because they're on the last season that they can take risks. And they can do stuff they've wanted to do for a while without worrying about it being well received or without worrying about ratings, because it's like, well, it's the last season. Who gives a fuck? Loved that though. And also, recently I watched Eternals. I don't understand why that movie, from what I've seen, it got like negative reviews and negative responses. I really fucking liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was weird. I thought the characters were super likeable. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of characters. There was like 12 main cast members, which did lose me a few times, I'm not gonna lie. But I really liked it, and I thought that Lauren Ridloff was amazing in it. Don't get sidetracked. Moving back to the Commonwealth. I kind of touched on it earlier ago. I liked the set. I liked the setup and the vibe and the lead up to getting there. All the mystery and the fucking what's going on in there, what's behind the curtain kind of deal. Loved it. I can't remember his name, but the pumpkin trooper, really liked him. And I like the outfits. I like the theatrics that surround the place. It does knock you out of the show a little bit, because like with as ridiculous, right, as the saviors were and as outlandish as they were still believable. There's still something that you probably would see walking on the road in a situation like this. But I don't know, the stormtrooping looking motherfuckers, very comic book, which, yeah, The Walking Dead is a comic book, so I guess it makes complete sense and it's cool, but at the same time it was just odd to see on screen. I love that we got the scene with Yumiko and her brother. Her brother, who was just like, I want to be a baker, I want to be a baker, I've always wanted to be a baker, don't ask me questions, shh, they're listening. That kind of weird vibe he brought with him, where all he was talking about was baking his life or whatever the fuck. I'm looking forward to going more into that, but I want to see more of him specifically, because like with a lot of those characters, we haven't gotten a whole lot of backstory, or at least we haven't got to see a whole lot of their worlds individually. So I did like that a lot. Luke as well, we just haven't seen him in forever. Now that can be explained away because I guess Dan Fogler, who plays him, I think he was doing Fantastic Beasts around the same time, so they just found a way to work the schedule. But like, his character was completely underutilized, in my opinion, over the last good while. So I hope we get to see more of him going forward into the next bit of the season. I liked the ending. I liked the finale we got for this part. I thought the storm was really cool. And I thought the storm was cool for a few reasons, but like, mostly because we don't really get to see the elements be all that dangerous. We saw the snow, and I loved the snow walker kills, and that was just so picturesque, and that little snowball fight we got seasons ago was just beautiful. But seeing the elements come into play again, and seeing like a really bad storm being genuinely dangerous, it just brought something different, and I really thought it worked super well. And then, you know, that putting the kids in danger and stuff adds that little bit of tension and that little bit of, oh my god, are they going to be okay? But you know they're going to be okay. Maggie and Negan wandering around outside while Leah points the weird firework display. Yuck, I don't even know what the fuck that is. I was told multiple times what that was in the comments. I still can't remember. It looked like a giant mallet. You know, those really big wooden fucking block things that you like beat chicken with before you cook it. I nearly said meat, but I ain't saying that sentence on camera. Now, I just want to talk about some stuff that I do kind of hope that we see before the show ends, or at least in this block. I think they're going to keep all the big shit, all the super big dramatic stuff for the last 8 episodes, which completely makes sense. It's the end of the whole show, right? But at least in the upcoming 8 episodes, I want to see something got to do with World Beyond or Fear. The last time we had that, and actually this showed up in my memories. Do you know the way when you take pictures or screenshots, your phone can create like a vlog or like a moment? It reminded me recently that, do you guys remember the weekend that The Walking Dead and Fear crossed over? When Morgan crossed over? That was fucking huge. So I hope we get something similar to that again. Even if it's not like with the main character or with a huge major character, somebody to change, someone swap over somewhere. And I'm kind of hoping it'll be with World Beyond. I'm guessing that they might bring Silas over maybe, because of how his story ended. If you've seen World Beyond, then you know what I'm on about, and if not, Google it. But yeah, I feel like another tie-in or something is needed to bring all the universes together, because they're all kind of floating by themselves. I know the crossover, I guess, with Jada's going over into World Beyond. I really did like that, but I'd like to see it paid back. You know what I'm saying? So something come back into The Walking Dead. I want to see Michonne come back, or I want to see her either further the search and figure out what the fuck is going on, or just come back. I've missed her so fucking much. I've also missed Rick, but I don't really have any hope for him coming back within the next 8 episodes anyway. I feel like if they're going to bring him back, they'll wait till the very, very last episode, and even at that, it's doubtful. Before I say this, dear God, don't come for me, but I want to see something happen with Negan's character. We've seen him grow. We've seen him go from, like, you know, Whistler in the Woods to fucking Uncle Negan, and a whole bunch of shit in between. I just don't know what more they can do with him that they haven't already. And if they're going to handle him this season, if they're going to... I can feel a death. Not in general, like in regards to his character. And if they're going to kill him, I'd like to see it in a way that matters. You know what I mean? He'd probably sacrifice himself for somebody, or maybe Maggie gets to kill him. Or maybe he sacrifices himself for Maggie, which he's already had the opportunity to do and didn't. But he did kind of put his ass in line for her. I don't know. I want to see something big happen with his character anyway. I want to see Princess come more to the forefront. Since we got the train cart episode with her, we got all of her backstory, and then we saw her then when she was inside, when they were being guarded, and she was like watching all the guards, putting together backstories on them, learning about them. She's so fucking interesting. And I want to see more of her interacting with the core group if she does come back with us. Because we've only really seen her with Zeke and Yumiko, right? And with Eugene, so it would be nice to see her in a different setting. But yeah, I've rambled on for nearly 28 minutes. Holy fuck, that was not planned. I mean, I know this is what happens when I make a list. When I make a list, I feel like I need to talk about everything on the list, and then half an hour has passed. But yeah, you guys, those were just some of my thoughts, because we'll leave it there for now. Those are some of my thoughts as to what I've thought so far and what I kind of want to see and what I want to see moving forward, at least with the next 8 episodes, because we still have technically a season worth of content left. So there's a lot of time to do stuff, but just in the immediate upcoming ones. I'd like to see snow again too. That was so fucking beautiful, that snow episode that we got. Oh my god. But as always, I want to hear your thoughts, so leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know what you've thought so far, or what do you really want to see, because I think when it comes to any show, when it's announced that it's ending, everybody has the picturesque, perfect ending written in their head. I'm not going to share mine just yet, but I have a rough idea as to what I want to see for the last episode. But yeah, that's it, you guys. As I said at the start of the video, there is a link to my Patreon down below, where there's a whole lot of shit going on at any given time over there. The link to my Twitter and my Instagram also, because I tweet a lot. So if you want to keep up with me, the links to them are down below too. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon. I don't know why I nearly burst out laughing there in the middle of the outro. It's just one of those days.